So in this lesson, you're going to create a review of a book, a video game, something like that. I've got a partial example. It doesn't cover the entire thing. So you'll have to do more than I have here, but this is a sample of some of the things that you're going to need. We're going to start in the demonstration at the W3 schools. They show you how to do styles. So with the W3 schools, they show you how to do inline styles, which is one possible way to do this, but it's not the most efficient. We're going to start with doing styles up at the top of the head, the top of the page, and add some basic items here. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to save, Control S, Command S if you're on a Mac, and then I'm going to go out to my folder, which is in my documents, and you can figure out where your page is by looking on this. Now this has not been uploaded to the internet, so this is not an address you could hand in. So I'm going to go out to my documents, and this is the review folder that we're working with. So I can open this up, and I opened it in Firefox. This actually does not look good at this size, so I'm going to change that, and this is how I test things. Now you can do some basic debugging in either your Chrome or Firefox browsers by choosing Inspect Element. So this image is the element that I want to change, so I can use my selector here. And I'm going to set the image width, and this is the width of the containing element, to 25%. If I leave it at the default, it goes to that size. And I think I'm actually going to put it to 20%. And so that's a bit better. So let's take a look at the code and how we can actually change and test things directly in Firefox's editor. So we have a style editor as well as being able to see all of our HTML code. And for each thing in here, I can expand the code. And you can see I'm using strong, which is here, emphasis to make it italic. I have a comment here. The image is actually a link to the actual author's website. And so I've got some basic paragraphs in here. So I can use the style sheet to see how I've done the styles. And my styles are up at the top of my page. And I have them set as the body setting with the background color of ivory, which you can see here. Color, which is the color of the text, is brown. Font family is sans serif, which means it doesn't have the little lines at the bottom and top of the letters. For my H1 tag, here, I've set it to be text aligned of center. I've set the color to teal and the font weight to bold. For H2, I've set it to sea green. It defaults to the left, and I haven't changed that. And to make the image centered, I had to include display block and set margin of 10px and auto. And I'll explain those more later, but you can just copy that. We can check accessibility. There's actually other checks I like better, but that's how we use the inspect option. Now when I'm grading, I'll frequently grade in Firefox because I'm going to go in and view the page source, and if there are any errors, your errors will show up in red. So this is what I'm looking for when I'm grading the errors in your code. So I have in the head section, this is where my style appears. I've got a title, which is book review, comes up here. And then I have the body section with my heading, an H2 tag, a link to an outside image, and some more information. And I also have my quote included in here. And we can see that at the bottom here. So the changes I made when I was in the inspect mode don't save. They're just for practice, and then you can figure out what you want and you can go over and you can copy and save those, or sometimes save them directly from the browser if you're working on your computer. So you're going to need to create your own. You're going to need to create your own review with at least 4 significant paragraphs, and I'm going to make a change here. 3 types of heading. You want to style the background and fonts with colors. Include an image and just set it to a percentage. You decide which percentage looks good. And then you want to include at least 2 HTML comments. Name it properly inside of a file. And include at least 1 HTML formatting option and at least 1 quote, which can be a normal quote or a block quote. You'll want to go to the W3 Schools pages here for samples and references.